Hey, nah, this bitch hard, man.
Welcome. It is the Moshtober. First video for Moshtober. Kind of a silly name, I know, but I was like, I'm gonna be cheesy. It's Halloween, getting very nostalgic. And guess where we're at? We're at High Fidelity, the mothership. It's been a while since I've been here. Yeah, so we're gonna chat a little bit for a second. I just got here, woke up, a little early for my liking. I worked all night. I work nights and stuff, so it was just one of those things where I had to get up and get going. And I woke up at fucking, what was it, 12:30. So got home, went to bed like around 8, and then here I am. Sometimes my days get mixed in with all the other, mixed in and everything. So, but yeah, so got ready and headed over here to High Fidelity. If you don't know what High Fidelity is, or if you haven't seen any of the pods that I've done at High Fidelity, it is a vinyl record store here in Amarillo, on 6th Street. So, and the owner his name's Ray. He's a really cool guy, and every once in a while I'm like, hey, can I do pod here? Can I do anything over here? And he's like, yeah, for sure, because he's a sick dude. So every once in a while, whenever I get a little excited about something, I'll come over here and do it over here. So we're here, and we're not getting twisted today, which is a little bit weird, but like I said in my beginning of the season, we're going to be chilling out on it sometimes. I want to be drinking some coffee, and I got some coffee. I got a Starfucker from 806. And if you don't know what 806 is, it's a coffee shop like one door down from High Fidelity on 6th Street here in Amarillo. So shout out High Fidelity and shout out 806. But yeah, 806 is pretty sick. High Fidelity's pretty sick. I get all my CDs from here. They have a really good collection of CDs. They have a really good collection of a lot of things. They have posters. They have vinyl, obviously. They have CDs, cassettes. They have a lot of wall art, a lot of vintage posters, vintage tees, band tees for sure. Pretty much your one-stop shop for gifts. If you're a collector, come over here. It is the place to go, especially if you care about the state of your collection. I know that I collect a lot of things, and sometimes I get like a CD from Goodwill or whatever, and it's tore to shit. And I get it, you really can't take care of 30 years worth of moving and, kids. And I mean, if it's your favorite CD, what are you going to do? You're going to listen to that thing until it fucking breaks. And so I totally get it. But, when you go to High Fidelity, you are 100% guaranteed that the CD is in good condition. Your vinyl is in good condition. He also has, the upcoming albums, the newer albums, newer bands. He has everything. It's not just collector place. He does a lot of like sound or what are those called? Where you listen to an album party, a sound party, and you can come over here and you can listen to the new albums that are coming out and have a good old time. And right behind me, I know you can't see it, but right behind you, not me, right behind you, he has a giant ass TV with a VCR and a whole bunch of VCR tapes. So if you're into, film, come over here too. It's just a badass place. Also, so this is going to drop on Saturday. They just did Creep Crawl, and that is on 6th Street on Halloween. They do candy, and you can go to all the bars and get fucked up. You can get like a ticket for like $15. I think it's like $15 for a ticket, and you can get riggedy wrecked because you get like free drinks and stuff. And yeah, the creepy crawl is like probably the funnest thing that you could probably do in this season over here on 6th Street. I think it's one of my favorite times of the year. Halloween is my favorite time of the year. But unfortunately, I have to fucking work, dude. I have to fucking work. So that's going to be an issue, but I think we're going to get off early. So it's just one of those things. It's an ups and downs for working in nights. Had to get some of that coffee because I am running low. But posted on IG and Facebook, and I said, hey, I'm going to be over here at High Fidelity, and tomorrow I'm going to be at Idol Art Studio, and we're going to be just talking about spooky stories for Halloween and stuff. When October hit, I think I had nostalgic emotions like flowing through me, and I started going in YouTube and looking up like 90s, 2000s like Halloween cartoon shows and stuff, and it's been very nice. And I'd be chilling at my house, burning some incense, and I'd just be chilling watching cartoons, Halloween cartoons and stuff. And yeah, it's a vibe. You catch a vibe. So, when was the last time I did a pod that I didn't have anybody with me? I think that's the trip about this is I've started the camera back up 5 times. And I think I just have to talk about the elephant in the room. It's just really weird. It's really different to not have somebody next to me and then me interviewing them about anything. I know that people are going to come and talk about their scary stories and stuff, but it's just a lot harder to have a conversation just by myself. So I needed to say that. Bada bing, it's all done. But yeah, dude, I've been watching a lot of horror films. 2025, horror movies and scary movies are probably my favorite type of film. Especially the mind fucks. So like, let's see, what came out this year? Weapons was probably my top favorite movie for 2025, and then Together was pretty sick. And then I watched some movies that I've been like sitting on. I watched all of the Final Destinations because Final Destination 6 came out, and I was like, I think it's time to rewatch all of them. So me, Joby, and Faith, every Sunday, sat down and watched a Final Destination film, and it was pretty sick. Going back and watching those movies, I don't understand why. So like, you know how like, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Final Destinations, you need to. And if you want to and you don't want me to spoil it, then stop this and go watch them. There is 6 of them. And I've heard that they're going to make a Final Destination 7, so who knows? Hopefully. I like when they do that. I know it's kind of cheesy, but I like when some movies like that keep on going until the wheels fall off, especially like with Saw. The Saw trilogy was insane. Uh, Hopefully they actually keep on doing it. I don't know if they will, but I hope that they keep on doing that too. That might be a dead horse, to be honest. But I digress. I'm gonna say the Final Destinations were pretty sick. The only thing that I had an issue with is when a character, the main character, found out that death was following them and killing all their friends. They would go. They found out, and right when they found out, they would go to the next person that was going to die, and they would end up dying, obviously, or they would, shield them from their death, and then something else would happen, or somebody else would die. I feel like if they didn't show up, then they wouldn't have died in the first place. Because if you really think about it, the only reason that they did die is because you came and tried to prevent it, which made it happen. So, and also like if you and if you really think about it, if you just like if you just not think about it, not think about death following you, maybe it wouldn't happen. I don't know. If I'm self-aware about my death, right? And I'm like, okay, death is following all my friends and everybody's dying. I'm just gonna not think about it. Just ignore death. Is that how that works? Ignoring death? Then you just die. I don't know. What do y'all think? Yeah. So the only issue I had was them going to their friends. Hey, you're gonna fucking die. And then they died, or they skipped that person, and then one of the other friends died. It's just boom, boom, boom. Now with Saws, though, it was crazy because it was a serial killer killing bad people, and then he kind of like created a small cult following, and then he had people become him whenever he passed in the movie. Another spoiler, if you haven't seen the Saws, sorry. Probably one of my favorite horror, like, scary characters is Jigsaw. I liked and also Saw 2. When I first watched Saw 2, I was probably like 12 or 13 when I started to like realize that this is life. Sometimes whenever you're a kid, you just kind of wake up and you're like, oh, I'm a human being. Yeah. I had so like my childhood was very severe anxiety, very like anxious, very like nervous. And I didn't know about this until I was way older, but thinking back on it, like I said, I watched Saw 2 at my aunt's house, and I wasn't supposed to watch scary movies because my mom forbid it because we were in a Christian household. I couldn't even watch like Wizards of Waverly Place and like That's So Raven because demonic, right? And witchcraft. Ooh, witchcraft. So I watched Saw 2 at my aunt's house, and I watched it, and it traumatized me so fucking bad. There's a few movies in my life that have traumatized me. So Saw 2 was one of them. Probably one of the best, like, if not the best Saw movie in the trilogy. Other than Saw 10. I think that's what it's called. Saw 10. We'll get to that later. But Saw 2 is the best movie in the trilogy. And the sound, I'm going to say this, the soundtrack and the characters, that's what makes that whole movie float. And the scene. The scenes were sick, and the traps. You know what? The whole fucking movie was dope. So, if you have a different opinion, I'm sorry. We can talk it over one day. But Saw 2, best the best movie of the trilogy of the Jigsaw the movies. But there was a few movies that traumatized me as a young child. That would be Saw 2, the 2009, I think it's 2009, the early 2000s Chainsaw. The the one movie with the trailer, and it was like that sound where the picture would take, it would go "Chickers." That's the one that traumatized me. I remember watching these movies, and the colors of the earth would be brighter than ever before, because obviously I was in a panic. I was literally having panic attacks my whole life as a kid, which probably is not good. Because now that I think about it, whenever I'm getting I'm getting older, and my mental state sometimes is not the best. I'm very forgetful, and sometimes I go into this world where I'm like, is this real life? Or is this just fantasy? I don't know. You tell me. But yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Grudge. The first Grudge. Dude, no. We're not even going to talk about that child. The cat boy. That freaked me out. The sound the sound that Grudge makes, that stuck with me until I went into high school. You know, when people would go, like that was a thing that people did to scare each other, you know. And then the cat child, the cat boy. I mean, obviously he sounded like a fucking cat. I need to rewatch that one. I have not rewatched that one. I've rewatched all of those except for Grudge. And to be honest, I'm kind of scared too. But at the same time, the movies that I have rewatched now, I'm like, dude, that was so bad. That was so bad. In its time, 100%. You know, we worked with what we had. You know, and at that time, those were the ones that blew the fuck up. So they had to have been good, right? But now that I go back and rewatch these movies that I grew up with, I'm like, dude, we've came such a long way, especially with like CGI and filming and acting and characters, that it has become one of those things where it's hard to like value, or it's hard to value, yeah, what those are back in the day, and you want to get those nostalgic feelings, but at the same time, like, I was a child, and those things terrified me, and I probably won't get those feelings ever again, you know. So that's like that's what nostalgic feeling is those feelings that you had whenever you were doing these certain things, and sometimes it doesn't happen anymore because you're an adult, whatever. And then there's a few that kind of pop in my head, where it's like, I think it's called The Eye, where the girl has eye surgery and then she starts seeing dead people. That one was there was some freaky parts in that. The Ring. The Ring didn't really terrify me as much. Also, I was, like I said, I was a very scared kid, so those movies I didn't watch until I was with my degenerate friends or my aunt. Which I'm going to say too, the first scary movie that I've ever watched, and it wasn't even that scary, and I don't know why, but I got grounded for it because I accidentally snitched on myself. Christine. I watched Christine. That was the first scary movie I watched. And if you don't know what Christine is, it's about a demonic car or a possessed car. It gets possessed and then it kills people. That was the first scary movie that I've ever watched as a child, and I got for Christmas or like for my birthday or something, or maybe it was just like a toy that I bought or whatever. I got a car, little Hot Wheels car that looked like Christine, and I was in the kitchen and I said, "Oh, the car looks like Christine," and my mom was like, how do you know what Christine is?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I freaking told my mom. I snitched on myself, and then I had to tell her, and then I got in trouble. I got grounded because I watched a fucking movie about a demonic car. That's how. What is it called? That's how Christian we were. Tell me I'm lying. I'm not lying. That's how it was. That's how it is over here in the Bible Belt of Amarillo area. You know, I'm from Friona, but the vicinity of this place. So, but yeah, I want to hear what's y'all's favorite childhood horror film. I know it was a lot like Chucky. Oh yeah, going back to like the Saws and stuff. Saw 10. I think it's Saw 10, the newer one. I watched that in theaters, bro. They did it up. They did it up on the Saw. It was a good little zesty touch on the storyline. Because in Saw 5, I don't know if y'all knew this, but he dips for a second and he dies from cancer. Unfortunately, which is really weird because you would think that these bad people would die from a more horrific death, and I feel like that's what kind of made him a human. Like, he was a human, he got sick, and he wanted to rid the world from bad people, and that was his way of doing it. Which, by the way, he was an old decrepit fuck. I don't understand how he was able to make all of these machines and all of these traps for these people to die. It would take years, if not decades, to make this thing happen the way it did. But, I digress. Saw 10 was about he had gotten cancer and then he dipped for a minute. That it's the story about all of that. It's the story about when he dipped. So like you get to see his side of the story and what happened. And dude, crazy enough, there's a story about how they fucked him over on his cancer treatment, and he gets to seek revenge, which is the craziest ending to a trilogy, if that's the ending of the trilogy. I have to look it up. I hope there's more to Saw. That would be sick. But yeah, childhood horror films, Chucky, we got The Leprechaun, we got I Know What You Did Last Summer, we got Scream, we got Halloween, we got Friday 13th, Michael Myers, all of these crazy spooky movies, The Crow, and then also like Scooby-Doo and stuff. But Blade, I'm like looking at all the VCR tapes over here, see what they have. Signs, that was a good one. That was a crazy one. People tripped on that one because that's whenever like CGI started getting like real big and stuff, and the alien popped out of fucking nowhere, and they tripped on it. They were tripping, especially when I was like a kid. I don't remember when I first saw Signs, but I do remember that part sticking in my brain for a minute. So there's that. There's my little movie spiel. I think that's what we're gonna do for this weekend. Probably watch a whole bunch of movies. Well, I'm gonna be hella busy. I got this going on, and then on Thursday, I have trunk or treat. So I did that. I dressed up as a bearded lady because we did circus theme. And then on Friday we have creepy crawl. I'm going to be doing that hopefully if I can get off of work early enough. And then Saturday, which is today, which would be this pod. Also, I have a show at Headhunters for their Halloween party, and then I have a show at Starlight, which is for the Day of the Dead, and that will be today. November 1st is the Day of the Dead stuff. And then on Sunday, I have another one at the Beetle. So we have this Cadillac Ranch over here in Amarillo. If you don't know what that is, it's an artist who put Cadillacs in the ground and they're like sticking up, and then you can spray paint them. Big whoop, but everybody loves them over here, and tourists come over and they see it and they spray paint and stuff, and I get it. It's a cool thing, but you see that every single day, and it gets kind of like, okay, what more do we got? Anyway, there's a Beetle Ranch, and it's pretty much the same thing where it's Volkswagen Beetles are in the ground, and you spray paint them or whatever too. And I'm going to do a show there for Idle Art Studio. They're doing their Day of the Dead thing that day on Sunday, and I'm going to be there. So, and this will drop. So if you have nothing going on Sunday, do go over there and do that, because I'm going to be DJing and I'm going to be playing some music and bada bing, bada boom. But I have a lot of stuff going on the Headhunters. Willow's going to be there, Chino's going to be there, Ivy and me, and we're going to be doing our thing. And then we have a homeboy, Sunburn. He's going to be performing as well. And then at Starlight, it's going to be me, Ivy, and then a few other guys. We got Derek Porterfield. He's been on pod. He's going to be there. Rex, Erratic Soul. He hasn't been on pod. I want him on pod, and he's popped in and out probably a couple times back in the day. But we need to do a podcast with him for real. But he's going to be there, and we're going to be jamming out. Hopefully, I don't get kicked out, to be honest. Some of the stuff, they were telling us, like, hey, you kind of need to be, family friendly, and I completely understand. I get it. But at the same time, so my songs are already sad and depressing, and I'm going to be talking about real life things. And there's songs that I do that are crazy and really graphic. And so I was like, well, I can do my softer stuff, but even my softer stuff is pretty daring, on the edge, on the cusp of PG-13. And that's just because cussing, So keep that in mind. But Halloween was pretty sick when I was a kid. Like I said, my parents kind of held me under a rug, so I really didn't know anything about anything, especially for Halloween, especially. But whenever I did start doing Halloween, I got a little taste of it, a little glimpse of it, and trick-or-treating was pretty cool because I was in a small town, and so you can literally go anywhere and everywhere, and you can get a whole bunch of candy. It's a little bit different in a bigger city, but in my small town, you can literally walk to each end of the town and, go to every house if you wanted to. It's possible. And that's what we did. Especially with my crazy friends and stuff, we would just walk around town and see what houses were available, and we would just go until we couldn't anymore. And I got a lot of candy, dude, and I've got a little taste of my favorite candies and stuff. And I'm gonna say this right now, I'm not a fan of fruity candies. I'm not. I don't like hard candies very much. I'll take a peppermint every once in a while. But those are not my favorite. My favorite is chocolate. Ooh, chocolate. I like Reese's for sure. Reese's is my favorite candy. If I had to pick a candy, it would be Reese's. And then my second go-to candy bar would be Mr. Goodbar or Payday. Paydays are pretty good. I don't know, I don't get a whole bunch of Mr. Goodbars anymore as an adult, but I ate a lot of Mr. Goodbar as a kid. And then when I would go to this grocery store, I'd get a Mr. Goodbar. But now I eat a lot of Paydays. If I'm at the grocery store and I don't want a Reese's, I'll get like a Payday, chocolate covered Payday. Now that is something. If you have not had a chocolate covered Payday, bruh, get it. Also, Babe Ruths are pretty good. Yeah, those are good. Three Musketeers are dope. Talking about nostalgic kid stuff. Three Musketeers is the first candy I remember eating. The first candy I've ever ate as a child. That's how I remember it. I remember going to the store and getting a candy, king sized Three Musketeer, and that was the candy that my brain decided to boot itself up. And I remember that being my first candy I ever ate was the Three Musketeer. Like I said, not my favorite candy, but definitely one for the books. So it'd be Mr. Goodbar, Reese's, Three Musketeer, Payday. Those are my go-tos. I don't like Snickers very much. I don't like Twix. I don't like Kit Kats. If they're there and they're the only thing there, 100%, I'll take them. But like if I can pick a candy, I'm not picking those. Also, hot take, candy corn. It's a vibe. I will eat some candy corn. I won't eat candy corn until I'm sick, though. I'm not doing that. But I will eat. I'll get a handful of candy corn and I'll munch on it. But it is a very I'm gonna eat it and then I'm not gonna eat it for a while. So I'm glad that it is a Halloween candy. But you can find candy corn almost year round, pretty much. I mean, I don't think I've ever not seen candy corn anywhere. I mean, you can go to Walmart in the summer and probably get candy corn. I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna have to look at the statistics on stores and candy corn and see what if they have it during the summers or any other seasons than Halloween. I think it is. I think they are. I'm gonna come back to that probably tomorrow. But yeah, candy, and then costumes for Halloween for sure. The costumes. I was a vampire. I think that was my first Halloween costume I ever dressed up as. And then I got in my teen years, and I really didn't dress up. I was kind of a lame old kid. I was goth, so I was already wearing a lot of black stuff and dark stuff anyway. So I guess you could say that I was in a costume anyway, or whatever. But so in my teen years, I didn't dress up in a costume for Halloween. But what I did though, so we had a band trip we were supposed to go to in high school, and we had to raise money for this band trip. And you know what's funny? I didn't even get to go to the band trip because I was an idiot. I was just not good in school. And I knew that I wasn't good in school, and I feel like the teachers knew that I was not a smart kid. So I mean, I had dyslexia, and there was some other shit wrong with me too. But we had to get some money for this band trip, and my idea was to make a haunted house. I was working at a furniture store at the time, and my boss was really cool, and so I was like, dude, wouldn't it be sick if we made a haunted house in the warehouse part of the store? And we did it, and it was I can't believe I honestly can't believe that I pulled that out of my ass, because it was probably the best haunted house for Halloween in my town ever to be created. Not to pat myself on the back, but as a child, that was pretty sick of me to do. I was probably like 16, 17. You know, I was a teenager, but I mean, like, pulling that off and having no, like, adult supervision and also being like, yeah, I'm going to do this in a furniture store was pretty sick. So what we did is all the sofas and love seats and, like, all the stuff that, like, you get into furniture, it comes packaged. So we made a maze of furniture in the warehouse, and we put a fucking Jeep in the inside of the garage. So we had two giant garage doors, one on each side, and we made the maze go from one garage door to the other. And at the end of the last garage, or at the end of the warehouse and into the last door, the garage door that you go through, we put a Jeep, an actual Jeep, a car Jeep, inside the garage, and we hid it with trash bags and stuff. And dude, I honestly can't believe that we did it. I can't believe that we did something like that. And it was a smash. It was on Halloween, and we did it for a few days. I think it was for a few days. Maybe it was one day. I cannot remember that much. But I think we made like $5,000. I think that's how much we made, was like $5,000. And I split it with all of the kids in band. You know, granted, it wasn't a lot of money. You know, once you split it between a whole bunch of kids in band, it wasn't a whole bunch of money, but it was enough money to be like, you know, here you go. And you don't have to worry about it as much, and your parents don't have to go into debt for you to go to a school trip, you know. And like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the school trip, so I kind of just contributed to everybody else going to that school trip. And I'm not sorry about it. I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that we did something like that for the community, and it was fun. And then I became an adult, and I love Halloween. I love I still trick or treat to this day. I don't care. I got a kid now, so if I'm trick or treat, if she's gonna trick or treat, I'm definitely trick or treating, and I'm gonna get some candy too. I don't care if I'm 30. I honestly don't think anybody should care how old they are when they trick or treat. I think it's a universal holiday for anybody to get. If I can get gifts on Christmas, I can definitely get candy on Halloween. That's how I see it. It might not be the best candy, you know. Some old man's like, "Aren't you a little too old to be fucking triggered?" You know, and give me like a freaking Tootsie Roll or whatever. But it's something nonetheless. It's like going on Christmas and being like, "Oh, cool socks, thanks. Oh, a pair of whitey tighties, awesome, Mom, thanks." But you know, it's still candy nonetheless. You know, and especially I get to pick out of my daughter's candy anyway. And I'm trunk or treating, and I'm going to be the part of the trunk or treat, so I get candy there too. So honestly, I think adults kind of win on Halloween because I think we get the most candy. We even buy the candy for the kids to trick or treat, so we can take portions of that and put it in our trick or treating stash. You know, what are you going to do about it? And I had a thought, and then it just went away from me. What the hell was I going to say? Huh. Anyway, trick-or-treating, sick for everybody. You can be, I'm not going to say 1 year old. That's a little bit too young. But I also did, when my daughter started walking, we did a dope Halloween costume. She dressed up like an old lady, and she was in a walker, obviously, because she couldn't walk that good. I made her a walker out of pipe, PC or CP, plumbing pipe, the plastic plumbing pipe. I don't know what the hell. And then I shaved my top of my head, and I had my side hair, and I shaved that, and I looked old as fuck. Probably the best Halloween costume I've ever created was that one, you know. Um, but yeah, I think adults, you can be 5 years old, or you can be 74. If you're 80 and still walking and still doing that shit, good on you. I'm going to say 74 is probably the time you can retire trick-or-treating. If you want to, you don't have to stop trick-or-treating ever. You don't have to stop eating candy unless you have diabetes. Then don't do that. Don't eat candy if you have diabetes. The bad kind. But yeah, trick-or-treating is for everybody. Sorry. Yeah, so I hope everybody has a good Halloween. Be safe out there, please. I know that, like right now in the climate of the world, it's not the safest or the best time to. The climate of the world, it's not the safest, especially at night, to be doing anything. But Emerald's, I feel like Emerald's pretty safe. If you go in a group, I'm going to say go in a group. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Sai, and today we're going to talk about the yeses and nos about trick-or-treating. So go in a group if you're going to trick-or-treat. Don't go alone. And no one's going to drug your candy. Sorry, parents. They're not drugging candies. The economy is not equipped for drugging candies. That's first of all. No one's out here being like, I'm going to put a whole bunch of LSD in these M&Ms. For one, it costs way too much to do that. And you're giving that away for free. I don't think anybody's going to be doing that. Be cautious for sure. I mean, if you're like 3-year-old is eating a hard candy, obviously you're going to be checking them out anyway, because you don't want to like have your child choke on candy. Duh. Common sense. But I don't think you have to worry about drugs and candies. But I will say there are very evil people, and I can see some people doing some evil things. So maybe check your candy anyway. I'm not going to say not to check your candy. Check your candy. Because some things can happen, and it has happened. So, that's just the world we live in. Go in groups, 3 or 4 people. I mean, you have enough. I'm sure you have enough friends to do that. And if you don't have friends, then get your parents to go with you, or just join a group. You don't got any friends? Join some group that's already there. But I mean, you're already wearing a mask, right? So they don't know who the fuck you are. Just go and become a part of that group. Or we'll make a Halloween group. We'll make our own Halloween club. And every year we go trick-or-treating as a collective. And we'll be called the Trick-or-Treat Club. Like the Breakfast Club, but like for trick-or-treating. And we'll get detention, and we'll play the whole. We'll do the whole breakfast thing, but it'll be trick or treating themed, and Halloween themed, and we wear costumes, and we'll make a movie about it. And we'll make a movie about it, and it'll be a horror. It would be a horror comedy. It's okay. So this is the movie. It's a horror comedy about these. It's a mixture, right? It's got to be a mixture. It's got to be a mixture of like teens to young adults. And they have detention. I don't know. A DMV. Yeah, we get stuck in a DMV. That I feel like that's the equivalent of detention for young adults and teens getting their driver's license. So we get stuck in a DMV. We get to learn about each other. we all find out that we all like Halloween. We don't have any friends. Obviously, we're stuck in a fucking DMV, right? And then we end up making a club for trick or treating, and we go and trick or treat. But there has to be a protagonist. So we're all the antagonists. We need a protagonist, kind of like maybe like a slasher murderer, like Scream, but like not as bad. Maybe it's like a guy that like slashes tires for cars, or like maybe it's like a deranged like parent for like one of the people that are in this club, because they're sheltered and like they don't want their kid like learning about Halloween. That's what it is. It's a deranged parent that ends up like going crazy because their kid's stuck in the DMV, and then a whole bunch of stuff happens. Maybe their phone dies or whatever, and then they get freaked out because obviously their teen is gone and they're missing. And then they find out that they joined this Halloween club, and they don't like it. And then they try to off us one by one. That sounds like a pretty good movie start, right? And then that's the whole movie. We try to run away from this deranged parent. Some of us die, and then we're like the Dare Project for Halloween. In the whole movie, the moral of the story is don't be sheltered, and how to protect yourself on Halloween in this climate of the world. I feel like that's a pretty good movie. Don't go alone. Wear like some like reflective gear so that you don't get ran over. Check your candy. Don't TP houses. I mean, I guess. Why not? The only thing I'm going to say about TPing houses is that toilet paper is very expensive. So, like, you're going to be spending a few bucks on just destroying someone's yard. And also, it's like, I don't know if it's like good for the environment. Toilet paper is biodegradable. You know, I would say get like a one ply. Get like one ply toilet paper so that it's easily to disintegrate on the ground. And then, but like I said, you're going to be spending some money on it. So make sure that you got some cash on you. So you can do that. Just don't like damage property. Don't like go like breaking people's windows and stuff. A good egging is pretty nice, fun, and that's also biodegradable, so you don't have to worry about that for the environment. Go green, TP houses and egg people's houses. That's fine. Get off my yard. Get out of my yard. To get the old men to get riled up. I mean, if you can get away, I can't run anymore, so I'm shit out of luck. I can't run. I'm too big, so I wouldn't be doing that. But if you're a parent, have some fun. You can have some fun on Halloween. Just don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. And like there are some people that like like you're trick or treating and they see that you're a parent and you're also trick or treating with your kids, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. And I've been one of those like, hey, you want a little shot for the road? You want a little shotty for the walk? Totally fine. Don't get like hammered in your neighborhood, walking with your kids. Then your kids are going to be taken care of. You're going to be stumbling all over the floor. So maybe watch your alcohol consumption just a little bit. Take a few shots. I mean, you want to be warmed up. You don't want to be like freezing to death. Make sure that your kids are dressed properly for the weather. I don't know how many times I was walking and on Halloween trick or treating, and I was freezing to death. Because I mean, like people say, it's like, oh man, it's like hot. Like yeah, it's 6 in the like 5, 6 in the afternoon, it's like hot. But once that sun goes down and that wind starts blowing, it's like 50. I mean, today it was like 53 and the sun was out. So dress your kids properly. Make sure that they're not cold. Make sure they're not like hot either. You know how what sucks is like wearing a huge Halloween costume for like miles. Jesus, come on. Put some paint on their face. Get some fangs. Get them some good clothes. Call it a day. You don't have to go too crazy. I know that there's families out there that go crazy on Halloween, which is fine. More power to them. But some kids have like sensory issues like I did, and I don't want to wear. I sweat way too fast, and I'm like sweating all my makeup off. What kid wants to go to a door and like be like trick or treat? You don't even know what they look like. You don't even know what they are because their makeup's half gone and they smell like onion. So do that and have fun. I think those are that's the whole list of like do's and don'ts for Halloween. I don't know if anybody else does anything different for Halloween, but that's like the consensus, And don't like destroy I said don't destroy people's property. And tell the people that did decorate for Halloween. Say like, I love your decorations. It would make an old man's day or an old woman's day being like, oh, I love your decorations for Halloween. You know how happy they would be? They do that for everybody. Not just they do it for them because they have nothing else to do. But they do that for them and for the town. And so like saying like, hey, I love your Halloween decorations, it would make their day for sure. So do that too. I think that's all of it for Halloween trick or treating. Trunk or treating is a little bit different because it's for fucking little kids, bro. Like you can't really fuck up trunk or treating. You go into a parking lot, there's a whole bunch of cars and candy, bada bing, bada boom, you're out, and you're in and out in like 20 minutes tops. So you don't have to worry about all that. Let's see. What else? I think that's it. Don't spend a whole bunch of money on costumes. You can literally make a costume at your house for less than $10. I know with this climate of this world, money is very, very hard to come by. You don't have to go and buy yourself $200 worth of stuff for a costume. You can do it at your house, and you can make something at your house, and it be good. So there's that. And like I said, just have fun. Care about people. Just care. Just care for this Halloween too. I thought there would be a lot more people coming to talk about their spooky stories, and I'm still here chilling. So I'll probably tell you about some of the scary stories that I have. I've said some scary stories on Friday. There was a few that me and my friend Eric had together, so I won't talk about those. But there is one scary story that I have that is pretty spooky, and I'll talk about that one. But what else? What else did I think about talking about? I'll talk about that spooky story. Let's talk about that spooky story. So this is kind of a crazy story, and I feel like this needs to be the reason why all of this happened. I'm going to tell that, and then I will tell the scary part of that story. So something very, very traumatic happened in my life a few years ago. I got told a story from somebody that I went to school with, and I don't know. Yes, I should have been told that story. At the same time, I don't know if I did the right thing or not. So I'm just gonna tell y'all. Maybe y'all can give me some advice. I got told a story about a certain thing that happened that kind of affects my life, and I was unaware of it. I didn't know that it happened, and then they told me, and then I had to sit on it for a few days and kind of digest what they just told me. And so when I felt like I had the right answer, I went to my family to address this story. And in doing so, it got out that I told that my family, and some of my family did not agree with the story and did not go about it the right way, and they ended up contacting the person that the story was about and saying that they are lying and blase blase. Not going to go into full detail about what the story was, and not going to go into full detail about what happened at that moment. Just know that it happened, because then now we're here. So I get a message from my ex-friend saying, hey, you want to hang out? And at that time, him doing that was not out of the norm. So I was like, yeah, for sure. When do you want to hang out? He was like, I'll come pick you up. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm hanging out at the house. They show up, and they're like, we're going to go cruise around. I was like, all right, cool. Once that happened, he kind of went silent, which it looked like he was having a bad day. So maybe he just wanted to hang out with somebody. And we've been hanging out for literally this ex-friend of mine, we would hang out every single night. So he was a best friend. It wasn't just like a friend that just out of nowhere said you want to hang out, and then we hung out for a few, and then we just dipped for a few years. This was a person that I hung out with every single day, and we talked every single night. We had a group chat together on Facebook for the longest time. So it was not out of the ordinary, and it was not out of the ordinary that I could tell a vibe. So I felt like he was having a bad day. He wanted to hang out with me or hang out with somebody. And so, I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Let's hang out. So we were hanging out, and he was being really quiet. And then he kind of started going into going and driving out of the town that we were living in. Also not weird. I know that sounds weird, but it's not weird for us to do that, because in Texas, we have different towns that are a little bit closer, and we have family in different towns, and we have different things. So, and also I did the newspaper, so I drove everywhere in this area. So it was not out of the ordinary either. A lot of this stuff is not out of the ordinary of the things that had happened, because just of our friendship and where we lived. He lived in our hometown, and I lived in Amarillo, and so he was driving towards our hometown, so I just assumed, he wanted to go say what's up to his parents, or he just wanted to go down and cruise. Like I said, it sounded like he was having a bad day. Anyway, at this time, we did not talk. We weren't talking. And when we got closer to a town that is in between our hometown and Amarillo, I asked, hey, where are we going? Everything okay? And he basically said that I fucked up. He's like, you fucked up, dude. I was like, oh yeah, pause here for a second. This was at 11:30 at night, 11 p.m. So it's dark on a highway going towards our hometown in Texas. There's a scene. He says, you fucked up. And I said, how did I fuck up? At this time, I didn't know what was going on. And I will say this right now. This was a kidnapping. I got kidnapped without even knowing it. I got kidnapped without knowing that I was kidnapped, which is really crazy to say, but that's how it was. An ex-friend of mine picked me up and then took me somewhere that I did not want to go or did not know what was happening. He had he had a motive, right? So I'm like, where are we going? I was like, where are we going? He goes, you fucked up. And I said, I fucked up? How did I fuck up? I didn't know how I fucked up. He goes, you fucked up. And then he started getting really, really agitated and aggressive. And I said, bro, I don't know where this is coming from. Like, are you okay? Did I piss you off? Like, what's happening? He goes, you told that story to your family, and now they're saying that that it's all a lie, and you shouldn't have fucking told them. I was like, dude, here's the thing. I was like, then I was like, oh shit, okay, so this is what's happening. And I said, here's the thing. My family is involved in this story that you told. My family is involved, unfortunately, and I also have a daughter. So I had to take care of my daughter first. I had to tell them how I feel about it, and then I had to tell my daughter, or I had to make sure my daughter's safe, for one. If they're saying that it's a lie, that's on them. But I told them for the safety of my child that story. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that they are lying. I'm saying that I needed to tell my daughter so that I knew that they were safe, regardless of what the story is. My family's involved. I have to do that. No, bro, you fucked up, and we're gonna go to Friona and we're gonna confront your family, and you're gonna tell them that you're sorry and that you all this stuff. And it was like 11:30 at night. What was I supposed to do, right? I was like, dude, you got 3 options. You can take me all the way to Friona, and then I can walk my ass home because I have no other way to get home. I'm gonna just walk my ass home. 2, you can park this truck on the side of the highway, then you and me can hash it out right now. Or 3, you can drop me off right now and I can walk home. And at that time, I was halfway between Canyon and Hereford. I was almost to Hereford. I was like, you can drop me off here, and then I can walk home. And that's what he did. And and you know what's funny? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. He dropped me off. I opened the door. I closed it, and right whenever I call out, you fucking pussy, and I shut the door. Boom. He drives off. Like I said, it's 11:30 p.m. at night on the side of a highway in pitch black darkness. And I'm pissed. I'm mad at this point. And so I start walking to Canyon. I start walking to Amarillo on the side of the highway. It's a little crazy here because this is where the scary story comes in. I just needed to tell you all that story because this is why I'm here on the side of the highway at 3:30 p.m. or not 3:30 p.m. 11:30 p.m. at night. So I'm walking down the highway and I have my phone and my flashlight on my phone, and I'm pointing the flashlight on the ground so I can see where I'm going, because obviously you don't want to walk into the highway, but you don't want to walk into a field. So I'm following the white line on the side of the highway, and I'm walking, and I'm like pissed off because no one can come pick me up. I have no friends that can pick me up. I do get picked up, by the way, here in a little while. But I'm walking, and obviously I'm a little scared because this is the first time I've ever been on the side of the highway. And I'm walking down the highway, and there is something. I see something in front of me. Maybe 800 meters away, I see this dark figure. I really can't see a whole bunch, obviously, because it's pitch black and I only have my flashlight. But I see something. I'm like, okay, it's either a bush or a tree or a car or something. Maybe a sign. I don't know. I'm walking, and the closer I get, the more it kind of looks like something else. And so I get kind of freaked out. I'm not freaking out, but I'm like, okay, maybe I do need to check my surroundings a little bit more, so that way, if there is something crazy, I'm not. I can either just die or run away or do something. I'm getting closer and closer, and then I start seeing it move. Now, I'm walking this way, and I can see this thing moving. I don't know if it's moving with me or if it's moving towards me or if it's moving away from me. I just know that it might be moving. So I'm walking and stuff, and it gets closer and closer. Now I can see where it is. It's between the field that I'm next to and the road. So I'm closer to the road than the field. There's a ditch. I wouldn't say a ditch, but there is a patch of land that is between the road and the field. So it is closer to the field than it is the road. And I can see it coming towards me, right? And so I'm like, okay, it is something. It's somebody or something, right? So I'm walking. I'm aware of it. I told myself, if anything happens, I'm running towards the road. I have no weapons on me. I have my phone, and that's it. I don't have anything else. I wasn't prepared to get fucking dropped off on the side of the highway and put in a position to fight for my life, right? So I see it coming closer. I see it come closer. At this moment, it's big. It looks, to be honest, it looks like somebody with a giant backpack of some sort, or like maybe like a blanket over their head, or like it looks like somebody is walking and has a whole bunch of garb on top of them, maybe for the cold or whatever. Because it was cold, but it wasn't that cold. It was like maybe in the like 60s to like lower 60s to like upper 50s degrees outside. It wasn't that cold. But it looks like they were like, maybe it was like a homeless person, or somebody like backpacking. I don't know. But that's what it looked like. So I'm walking, and I see the thing. I see them or it, and I see it pass me, or it's passing me at this point. It's passing me. I'm like trying to keep this direction that I'm going, not saying a word, not looking. I'm just going. I can see it in my peripheral. It's walking. I can see it walking now. Now I know it's something. Now I know it's a somebody. It's a somebody because it's walking. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's a person. So I definitely have to make sure that I'm not going to get murdered in my back. So it passes me. And at this moment, it's like right here. We're like level to each other. Boom. And then my body sinks for a second. And then I take 5 more steps. And I look back. And there's nothing. There's nobody. There's nothing there. So now I'm tripping. Because I just saw somebody walking my direction, pass me, and then disappear. Now I'm terrified, right? So I call my friend. I'm like, hey, dude, I know that it's late. It's an emergency. I need you to come pick me up. I'm in between Canyon and Hereford. I'll tell you about the story later. I'm on the side of the highway. Please come find me. They end up finding me, and I tell them the story, and they trip the fuck out. It's terrifying. It is a terrifying experience. I still to this day, I don't know what it was, why it was, how it was, but it happened to me. This is one of the scariest ghost stories that I have. Or I don't even know if it was a ghost, an apparition, a demon, a giant wolf, a werewolf. I don't know what it was, but I do know that it happened, and it's probably the most terrifying experience that I've had. And the situation that I was involved in, it was bad too. So there's my ghost story, my little haunted Halloween ghost story. My ex-friend kidnapped me, dropped me off on the side of the highway. I had to walk back home. I saw an apparition in the middle of the night by myself, and then my friend picked me up when I was almost to Canyon. So there's my story. Crazy story. So we're going to take a little break. All right. Had to take a little break for a second. Had to take a little breather after that crazy story. I told the story about the huh? No. It's all right. That's fine. I told the story about the figure that I saw on the side of the highway, and kind of told the whole story about how it happened. I didn't dox anybody. I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm there about doxing people about their stuff that they did to me. Yep, I'm recording right now. So, but they know. I just told them about the story, what I heard, what they did. My ex-friend, did that bullshit. But as I was taking a break, Ray from High Fidelity, we're here right now today, told me a story about something that happened to him at a airport, and I have a similar story that I don't think I've told, and this one's kind of creepy too, kind of like Matrixy, kind of like we're in a simulation type of deal. So this happened in Hereford. These stories are true. These aren't just like made up stories. These are stories that have happened in my life, and I have a platform where I can tell you. So it's also a creepy story. Oh, also, I was gonna put a little Zen in. Hold on. Have a little coffee too. Remember, support local. High Fidelity is open every week, and they have a lot of vinyls and collections of music and what have yous. And what else do they got over here? They got CDs, they got cassettes, they got vintage artwork and posters, band tees, VCR cassettes. I mean, you can hear the music in the background probably from the recording and stuff. But yeah, support locally. Ray's a really good guy. I come here all the time. I bother his ass all the time. But he loves it. I love him. And, we've done shows here. We've done shows at High Fidelity that blew up. They were great shows. Probably both of my High Fidelity shows that I've done here have been like probably the best shows that I've done here in Amarillo, honestly. I've done some really good shows, but like High Fidelity's vibe and how they run like the music portion of like the like local artists and stuff, it's like really, really badass. And like it's like very personal, we're in a locally owned vinyl record store, music store, and we're doing locally local performances, local music, local artists doing their thing. And I think it gets kind of personal when it comes to like your music and like what music is and like what High Fidelity is about and like what they care about in the aspect of like the music world, because Ray is like a genius when it comes to like music and sound. And if you need like help like fixing like a vinyl or like need help like working on a CD and stuff, I would even say come to High Fidelity and talk to Ray about it, because I've came to him a couple times and he's like really he's really helped me. If he couldn't fix it, then if Ray can't fix it, then nobody can fix it. You know what I'm saying? But like I've came to him about some things and he's helped me out a lot too on that too. So, but yeah, like High Fidelity is probably the coolest place here in Amarillo, if not the coolest place. You know what I'm saying? You feel that? But yeah, going back to my story. So I was driving to Hereford, and Hereford's a pretty small town. It's bigger than Freona for sure, but it's smaller than Canyon. And on my way to Freona, and I had to go take a piss. And so I stopped at a Stripes. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going pissed, I might as well get a Black and Mild. and so because I was smoking blacks at the time, and so I go into Stripes to go to the bathroom, and as I'm going to the bathroom, obviously you look at your surroundings, and plus I don't like going to the bathroom. I don't like going to public restrooms. Just it has nothing to do. It just all has to do with germs and just my personal preference. But I am coming into the store and I check the room and I see a couple people at the cash register, and there's a gentleman that whenever I open the door, he looks at me and he's buying a pack of Camel Crushes, the menthol cigarettes. And it gets to the point where it's like this is very detailed stuff. So the story is pretty true. But he's buying Camel Crushes, and I can hear him like, "Can I get a pack of Camel Crushes?" He sees me, we do our thing. I go to the bathroom, I go pee, and then I come out of the bathroom, and I completely forget about the black and mild. So I go pee, I leave, and he's still at the cash register. And I go out of the store, and I go into my car, and he is behind me, so he gets out of the store as well, and he's leaving in his yellow Jeep, and so I get into my car, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about my black and mild. I'm gonna go get my black and mild, so I get out of my car, go back into the store. I go back into the store, and guess who the fuck is in line? Guess who's in line? That same guy. The same guy is in line buying Camel Crushes. He looks at me. I look at him. But you know how I look at now that I'm aware, because he already came out of the store. I already know this guy, and he went into his Jeep. I'm like, I forgot my black and mild. I walk back in, and he's back in line. You're gonna be like, your face is gonna be like, what the fuck, I'm tripping. He looks at me with the same face. Like he's tripping. Like he fucking knows something that I don't know, right? So like I look at him, he looks at me, and he's like, and I'm like, okay. He buys Camel Crushes like he said he was before this. I get a black and mild. Now this is where it gets kind of different, because obviously he leaves before I do. I'm getting into my car. Guess what car he gets in? His yellow fucking Jeep, parked in the same fucking spot. That was that's probably the trippiest, like, I'm in a simulation or I jumped time or time travel-esque ass story that I have. But it tripped me out for a while because I was, like, telling that story to a friend, like, they're not going to fucking believe you. Like, nobody believes these stories, right? No one really believes these stories that, like, people talk about when you talk about, like, scary stories and stuff. You just got to believe them by their word. And honestly, like, most of the scary stories that I hear from my friends, they're pretty detailed, that, like, this situation actually happened, So, like, you have to. I feel like whenever there's a scary story and somebody tells a scary story and it's actually fucking what the fuck, they're probably true. They have to be true. No one's, like, I don't know, unless you're, like, a psychopath or, like, a sociopath. You're not, like, sitting at your house being like, okay, I'm going to go to the bar this weekend. I need a story, and then play out a story. Like, you write out a story. Nobody does that, I don't think. Unless, like, you're a sociopath. Or, like, you have some type... Huh? Or a writer. But I'm not a writer, But I will say in junior high, I had a pretty good writing, like, wave that I was going with. But, that faded. Too boring. Like, writing took too long for me. I have a story in my head. I can't put it down on a piece of paper and... Once upon a time, there was a ghost. Like that? No, I don't think I can do that either. That's what we need to do. Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, I mean, if you give me a prompt to tell a story about, I can riff off of that. Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're gonna learn about Billy the Kid. Crazy guy. He liked to shoot guns. He was a cowboy. I would do that. I would do that. But yeah, I have other scary stories, but those are the two scary stories that I think I can say today. Those are pretty good scary stories, you know. I talked about, yeah, Jigsaw is my favorite scary horror guy, murderer. What are they called? Villain? Horror character. Horrorcore character. Um, yeah, it is a little weird today. Um, just because it's not it's different vibe. I usually interview people, or I have an interviewee, huh? Yeah, everybody's busy. Everybody's doing Halloween and stuff. It's just like I usually have somebody that I interview, so I already have somebody I already know what they're going to talk about, what the vibe is, you know, and then be like being by myself is a little bit like uh, I've done it before. So yeah, I've done it in my house. I've done this in my house before where I was sitting by myself and I was talking. But it was like it was a specific thing. Like I was like reviewing a song or something that somebody posted or whatever. So that's a little bit different. This is a new world. I might need to start doing this maybe a little bit more. You know, every once in a while where it's like by myself. Maybe I can like get used to being by myself. So I don't know. Maybe this is something. Write in the comments. Write in the comments. Let me know if you like only me on the camera. But yeah. Halloween is gonna be fun. Um, Hopefully Halloween is for every year. You know, sometimes like Thanksgiving, I kind of like took a hiatus on Thanksgiving for a while. And then Christmas is usually the same. I usually like doing Christmas. There's been some like bad Christmases, but like Thanksgiving, I was like, I'm not gonna do Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a little bit tender for me because my grandma and she did all that stuff, and then she passed away, and then my family's just fucking crazy. So I was like, I'm not gonna do Thanksgiving for a few years in the past, but Halloween always and forever. Especially with like movies, and like I like the vibe. I like to go home. I like to put some incense on. I like to smell apple, cinnamon, roasting, and then maybe like a pumpkin pie. That's like Halloween. Pumpkin pie is Halloweeny. I know it's like Thanksgiving-y, but pumpkin pie is very Halloweeny. Yeah, and then I want to like watch. I want to watch a Halloween movie or a scary movie or something. See, like scary movies, like if it's a super scary movie, I'm gonna sit there and watch it. Like that's like I'm gonna sit there and take my time to watch it. But like like Halloween movies like Casper or like I said, the Halloween cartoons, the 2000s like OG Halloween cartoons I put on. Maybe I'll put like a Halloween lo-fi music, which is on YouTube. You can look up Halloween Hawaii lo-fi music, and they actually have playlists for Halloween lo-fi, which is crazy, but it's sick. You catch a vibe on it, you know. And then like I like to feel the weather. The weather is very like spooky. The weather is very like cold and like spooky, and you feel the Halloween come. You're like, Halloweeny time. Um, so I just want everybody to have like a fun, good Halloween. I think especially with the climate of the world, like we need to let loose. We need like these seasons that like you can just be whatever the fuck you want and have fun and not worry about being an adult and like worry about like just like life and stuff. I think we need to be like, you know what? I'm not gonna be embarrassed and weird about certain things. I'm just gonna go do what I want, and I want to trick or treat, and I want to have fun with my friends, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think we need to start. We need to start small. Everybody's like, I want to go travel. I'm gonna do all these things, and like, nah, like you don't even have to do all that. You can just be present, and then you can do fun things, the things that you felt like you couldn't do before. And that's the start of living a happier, positive life during this Halloween season. Because we got Halloween coming up, then we got Thanksgiving, and then we got Christmas, and it's like New Year's, and then all over again. Oof. And we're almost done. It's 2026, almost 2026. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy time. But I appreciate all y'all, and this might be a yearly thing. I might do Moshtober every year. I don't know. I just thought it would be a cool idea, a fun idea for everybody to come and talk about their spooky stories, or just be on camera. You know, I love being on camera, and I just wanted to do something for y'all, so, and all the fans, so that y'all get the me and Eric's Halloween special, which is super crazy and silly and fun, and we talk about wild shit, but it's also Halloween related, because we talk about like scary stories, and we talk about movies, and we talk about ghosts and all that stuff. And then I just we're gonna do this, and we're gonna tell more spooky stories tomorrow, which would be Sunday. You're gonna see that the next one on Sunday. That one's going to be at Idle Art Studio, and hopefully y'all can come up and tell y'all spooky stories then. I know it's a little bit weird because it's during the day, and people are busy and stuff, but, you know, I can only work with my schedule. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody listening, and I hope that y'all had a spooky, fun Halloween. You know, we're going to do a whole Halloween weekend. So Friday, get fucked up, have fun, drink responsibly, don't do anything stupid. Then we're going to do round 2, which is Saturday, which is today. And y'all have some fun. That's going to be more of the adult time. Like I said, I got some shows. And we're going to have some fun then. And then we're going to have round 3, which is Sunday. I mean, we're gonna have a whole Halloween weekend. Y'all understand that? It's not just Saturday and Sunday or during the weekday. It's literally Halloween on Friday. Some people have to work. You can't do Halloween on Friday. Do it on Saturday. People are doing things on Saturday for Halloween, and they're also doing it for Sunday too. Like, this is a whole Halloween weekend. Have fun. Do all the crazy shit that you want to responsibly. Again, we talked about making a movie kind of like the Breakfast Club, but it's teens and young adults, right? And you're like, okay, how do we do this? Because you can't have detention like the Breakfast Club. It's teens and young adults. They get stuck in a DMV, and they find out that they all like Halloween. And then we needed a protagonist, so I was like, how are we going to do that? It's a deranged parent that finds out that they're one of the teens are stuck at a DMV, and they find out that they made a trick or treat, like not a trick or treat, but like a Halloween club, and the deranged parent is out to kill everybody in the club. That's the movie. So we're going to do that too. I'm going to make it happen. We're going to do it on Mosh. We're going to do a MOSHCAST production. The Halloween Club. Yeah, so we will see you tomorrow. And happy Halloween.
And now this bitch hard, man.